afternoon, everyone. So I'm just sharing my screen with all of you so that we can start the session now. So we are going to talk about one amazing technology that is your AR and VR and how we can integrate it into modern teaching learning practices. At present, we can talk about a variety of technologies that are changing the scenarios in the classroom learning, and we are just shifting from the traditional practices to some modern age practices where students as well as teachers have opportunity to work on emerging technologies with we can say like a collaborative environment in the classroom, whether we talk about online teaching learning or offline teaching learning. Everywhere we are able to integrate some emerging technologies like IoT, AI, AR, VR, and many such options that can enhance the learning experience for students while improving the teaching quality for the teachers as well. So, among all such technologies, AR and VR are growing at much faster pace, especially in the industrial revolution as well as in the educational sector that we are experiencing these days, especially after the COVID onset, when we have experienced a lot of trouble with the traditional classroom teaching practices and people were looking forward for some solutions to integrate digital solutions into teaching practices so that even the distance education can be more fruitful for both parties. So, talking about these technologies, there are plenty of things that we can discuss, but the most important part is when we have to integrate it with your educational system, what essential things we need to know and what are the possibilities, what is already existing in the market, and how we can use that for our existing classroom environment. All those things we are going to discuss in this particular session. So I'll start with a little bit of overview of both these technologies and then we'll proceed further with several discussions. Starting with the augmented reality, this is all about uh, adding some digital elements into your real life. So just by using the camera on your smartphone, on your tablet, you can just utilize some additional AR powered application that can help you to project some digital elements into the premises wherever you are sitting right now. For instance, in a conference hall where you may be taking some meeting or some session with the student, you can project something relevant to their curriculum and they can just visualize it with their eyes and they can interact with it in real time. Similarly, on the other side, we have virtual reality. We can say like it is exactly opposite to what we have in augmented reality. Like in augmented reality, we add digital elements into our real life, but in virtual reality, we immerse ourselves into a digital environment. So one is bringing digital things into your life, and other is entering yourself into a digital environment or a simulated environment. However, both these technologies at present are working side by side, and we are finding several opportunities to create immersive experiences for the students and teachers in the educational premises by using these technologies. So, how they may work, let us discuss it in detail. First of all, with this augmented reality technologies, we can say that we can create some digital experiences that can exist with the real environment, like we have tables around, we have chairs around, and on that itself we can impart something from the digital world and we can interact with it, and depending upon our requirement, like if you have one best example I have given here is like maybe some industrial AI app we have, and we just project that app on certain machinery or a failing equipment out there, and that application will quickly help you to diagnose the trouble that you are facing in that machinery, and that troubleshooting information may save your time as well as give you a step by step idea about how you can deal with that fault. So that sounds interesting, definitely. If something you can have in life, with which you can interact and you can find solution to your problem, that can definitely save much of your time. And this thing is not just for the industries, rather for the educational premises as well, where students can find solutions to their day-to-day problems in such uh, AR apps, and they can help them to integrate everything into a real environment on the go. At the same time, your virtual reality will help you to enter into a digital world with your desired environment. Like maybe if you want to enter into a field environment where some constructions are going on, and you just want to visit that how that particular construction is going on, or what are the elements that people are using over there, you can take an experience of that. Like whatever you need to learn in your life, and you don't have a physical experience to go into that environment due to maybe some risk over the site, or maybe due to some other issues, or maybe just the travel issues, or maybe the financial issues. But your VR can give you an opportunity to enter into that virtual world and experience everything with your senses by wearing a specific headset on your eyes. So this is just one quick idea about how these interactions may appear. Like this kid is wearing a headset on his ears, and whatever we are seeing on the screen, he is basically able to see that within the headset and is able to interact with it. So this is just one idea about how students can learn some advanced concepts, or maybe some anatomies, or a specific in-depth procedure related to some machineries, or maybe some heavy equipments in such an interactive manner. In order to deal with maybe some planetary experiences, or maybe some out of box experiences that students need to learn a certain specific concepts, again they can utilize this immersive technology and they can interact with it. For example, you can see this girl is right now standing in her classroom only, but still she is able to interact with the galaxy, with the planets out there, and she is able to get information about each one of these planets by just touching it with her fingers, because she is interacting with that digital world. So maybe if she needs to know more information about sun, she can touch it within that digital environment, and it will pop up some relevant information related to that and particular planet. So this can be definitely an interesting experience for the students, because if we just go to the traditional educational system, whatever we have experienced during our school age, we could just see some pictures on the books, and we could just read some lines on the text paragraphs that are on the books, and that was the limited information we could access, and we just had to imagine everything that okay, this is written like this, so this must be like this. But for the present age students, we can create immersive experience, we can help them to interact with whatever they are studying in their curriculum, and this definitely leads to a better sensory development, and students can remember concepts very well, because they do not just have to uh, push through the text that they are finding on the books, rather they are able to interact with things. And we all know that these live experiences add on to our knowledge, and they are unforgettable for the life. So this is just a quick overview about how these technologies may work. Before I proceed ahead, here I have highlighted some equipment that you may need to work on these technologies, such as we have some headsets. On the top part you can see is some Oculus Rift headset, HTC Vive headset, Samsung Gear, you have PlayStation VR, you have. They are all equipments required for virtual reality applications. However, the bottom one, you can see some glasses, you can see tablet and smartphone, etc. They are utilized for augmented reality applications. So, in order to take part in such immersive technologies, or be a part of such immersive experiences, definitely we first need these hardware equipments along with some compatible software applications that I'll definitely talk further about. But yes, the hardware is required. Now, since we are on an online session and none of you might be having these headsets with you to experience that AR and VR thing, but just in order to give you an idea about how it may appear to the wearers of these headsets or these goggles or the users of these technologies, I have integrated plenty of videos into this session that I'll be playing one after another, and they are related to different applications so that you can just have an idea about how this technology may add into the classroom environment. So I hope that will be useful for all of you. So we'll switch further one by one to the first video I'm integrating here. This kit you can see it has been designed recently by a company Z Space, and they have created this especially for the classroom environment so that students can interact with their day-to-day curriculum or the subject specific concepts in more precise manner. And this is just the first visualization you will have about the technology. Let us see how it appears. I hope the video will be visible to all of you, and you can also hear the sound. So if anyone has any problem in between, please let me know. So you can see this, how students are able to interact with things. So this was just one example about how you can feel this technology in a classroom environment, and I hope you all could see that how interactive every session can be for the students with the use of this particular immersive technology. So now I'll be talking one by one about augmented reality and then virtual reality and then little bit about mixed reality as well. Starting with the first part, that is augmented reality, and I'll show you several videos related to this. First of all, what it is all about, as I told you that we integrate our real world into a simulated world, and in order to do this, as I highlighted recently, we need some essential hardware units that include smartphone or tablet screens. And along with this, in order to point over area of interest, you may use a camera of your smartphone, and you may also need some live streaming option if you want to transmit that scene to some other screen, or maybe you want to project that on the larger screen for your students. And similarly, these augmented reality based implementations can be more useful when we have some real life issues like repair instructions you have to give to the students, because you have just seen in the video that they can observe every single part of a machinery by using that technology. So if you have to give a specific navigation information or their instruction, that will be easier to incorporate for the students. And similarly, diagnostic data we can pass on to the students very well, and they can experience it with real time interaction on the system. At the same time, your augmented reality tries to superimpose basically three important elements that includes sounds, videos, and graphics into the existing environment. That can be anything like your classroom, your conference hall, any outdoor or indoor environment, wherever you want to superimpose these sound, videos, and graphics. The main components of this AR environment includes a camera, you may have some sensors, there may be the processing system, you have the projection system, and then reflection. All these elements collaborate together to superimpose existing images into the current environment. And in order to detect all different image depths or calculate distance between different objects, you may have different applications out there. You may have some user interaction systems that you can utilize to gather more and more information out of those projected environments. So these videos can be basically overlaid over any physical surface, and you can enable interaction over there. In order to process huge amount of data, because as I told you already that we are just superimposing something into the real environment, so definitely we are processing bulk amount of data. And in order to do that, we definitely need a wireless connectivity which is fast enough to process that huge amount of information. And for this, we can thank to the 5G cellular networks that we have currently in our market, and we can utilize these systems to expand the potential of AR into education as well as industrial revolutions. With these AR components, the educational institutions are now able to create interactive classrooms because they are able to integrate everything at a faster pace without restricting their data transmission or the bandwidth issues or latency issues that were earlier present in the slower versions of the wireless networks. So with this, we can easily incorporate AR into daily work practices as well as to the learning experiences of the students. Furthermore, uh, it has been observed over the years that although this AR and VR component entered into the market several decades ago, but the real time implementation of these systems is still a challenge. Reason being the cost, of course, and as well as because several times the hardwares are not available in the classroom environments or the institutions. But currently, several companies have entered into this market and they are designing some cost effective solutions. Your headsets and the wearable devices are now available at a lower price. So it is easier to introduce these into the educational settings so that students can understand the complicated subjects easily. Because with the 3D and geometric forms or the manipulations that they can make over the 3D representations of any topic, it can help them to include additional information into their knowledge base, and they can definitely understand every subject matter more uh, clearly as well as with a interactive or the engaging style. So it can even enable them to have virtual field trips. A video of that I'll definitely show you further, that how these technologies can help students to engage into the virtual field trips, and they can just get an idea about some activities that are going far away from their classrooms, but still they can get some knowledge from that scenario. In order to adopt this augmented reality, the main challenges that we have is bulkiness of AR equipment. These were earlier, but the current age AR equipments are much improved within the past 3-4 years. There is a great change in the development side as well, and we can have easy to carry AR equipment also in the market. Similarly, the quality of AR educational content was a challenge a few years ago, but currently several big industries have entered into this sector and they have started developing better content for the educational needs. And of course, funding may be an issue still for several institutions. The big players, IITs and MITs, they are already having these technologies integrated into their classroom environments. But yes, for the small institutions, this is still an issue. But if we explore the benefits of this technology at larger scale, definitely several institutions will get this funding opportunity also very well, because this is definitely for a long term impact and we are going to save a lot of money in the long run after investing on this AR. That definitely I'll discuss further, that how this one time investment can save much amount in the future. So that gap basically we need to understand, that how it can be useful even if it is costly at the initial stage. So the first thing, in order to incorporate augmented reality into teaching, the first benefit or the first technique we can use is student engagement and interest, because definitely students are able to interact with the virtual things out there and it is going to give the new horizon to their interest. So let us have a quick idea about how this technology can increase student engagement, that you can see through this particular video. Here you can see this I3D in VET, one company has designed some books, the content magazines or the books that incorporate AR scanners in them, and a tablet can or mobile phone can be utilized to scan through the images on the book, and students can interact with different elements out there. So you can just imagine and you can compare it with the traditional learning practices that we have always followed in our classroom environment. Let us go through this video.
This is called the drive gear because it is driven by a motor and it in turn meshes with and drives the movement of the second gear. A rotary vane pump is a positive displacement pump that consists of vanes mounted to a rotor. The vanes are on an off-center drive shaft. As the shaft rotates, the variable length vanes slide in and out to maintain contact with the pump housing. Piston pumps come in many different forms. A swash plate is a device used to translate the motion of a rotate shaft into the reciprocating motion of a piston. Swash plate piston pumps have a rotating shaft connected to a cylinder block containing pistons, which are pressed against a stationary swash plate that sits at an angle to the cylinder.
So this was a quick idea about how books can also be interactive. This is not just about reading the text, not just about looking at the pictures. Rather, with the AR component integrated into the books, you can have audios, like complete description of every equipment that you are looking at on your book, a 3D animation, and covering every element of that particular equipment. Like they were showing highlights of every small component inside the motor or the shaft, etc. Everything they have detailed, and The audio experience further adds on to your knowledge, and this, we can say, like, this is a sensory experience for the student that they will definitely remember for a long run, in comparison to the traditional learning where they are just reading some text on the book, or just watching some picture, just one dimensional surface that they are looking at. So this 3D experience can definitely add into. And similarly, it can further help students in better content understanding, because uh, over the years we have seen that students sometimes find it difficult to imagine the scenarios that they are just looking in the picture on the book. So some students are very creative that they can just imagine the scenario, that what may be happening inside, or if maybe there is an image of an engine, you can just imagine that just by looking at the image of an engine, it is difficult for a student to understand that what may be inside or how it may be working. But the same thing, if they are able to see through a video and they are able to engage into the every part of it, definitely their content understanding will be better, and they will be uh, immersed into that interactive element of every complicated part of their subject. The learning environment definitely improves because they are going to have a hands-on learning approach, not just by using the textual information, rather they can interact with every specific part. Like when we are just talking about an engine or maybe a machine that you have in your laboratory setting, maybe when you are explaining it, chances are that not all students are interested in the same portion of the machine. This is completely about their interest. Like sometimes we go to watch a car and we just try to see all the specifications of it. Maybe some student is more interested to explore what is new in the engine, and some other may be interested to know more about how the wheels and steering are working fine, and some others may be interested in some sensors used in that vehicle, and some others may be interested in the automated traffic collisions or all these things. So there are several elements to understand within one topic. This AR or VR integration gives students to explore their individual interest. So they just do not have to limit their knowledge to a specific description that they are getting from one source. Rather, they can just touch a specific element if they need to know more about it, and they can explore it further part by part. So this definitely adds into the learning experience and increases their retention abilities as well. You can see here one more video I have added. This is basically for a town planning, and that how we can do or how we can enhance this thing by using AI technology. So generally, when we talk about a city planning or town planning, this is a big concept, and we have to think about several elements out there, like how the road connectivity will be maintained to every part, especially to the emergency areas, for the hospitals, for the police stations, or the relevant areas, how it will be safer for the school areas, how the residential areas will be maintained, how markets will be made accessible to all. There are several things that the developers have to think about. But instead of just creating a plan on the paper and then executing it on the real time and then later on finding some faults in that execution, it is better to have a 3D visualization where you can interact with things and you can just think about how one portion may be good or bad, or maybe you can change the plan ahead of time, and this definitely is going to save time and cost in the long run. Because maybe if the town planning goes wrong and we are not able to manage the emergency exits or emergency entries for the special vehicles out there, so this can be a threat in the long run. So this all can be avoided by using this AR based town planning. For instance, you can see here, you can see highlights for everything, that what is placed at which area and how the connectivity is being managed for that. So everything is highlighted very well. So if the builders or the planners or the agencies, they have to make certain changes, they can do it on time. This is also good for exploring an established city. If someone needs to find something specific out there, so they can experience through this 3D visualization. And if they have to highlight something, instead of just having an empty screen and just dragging through the map out there, they can just interact with everything depending upon their requirement. And furthermore, this AR technology also adds into the collaboration. For instance, uh, teachers and students can work together in a group to refine the content as per a specific requirement, and this can definitely improve the engagement between all the parties involved in this teaching learning process. And definitely students will be more motivated to learn and engage with the system out there. So this makes collaborative learning opportunity to grow for the students. It is definitely going to enhance memory retention for the students, because just by looking at the photographs in comparison to having a live interactive experience over the stories with AR content is definitely a great scenario for the students. It further leads to better sensory development, because teachers can create lesson plans with multisensory experience, and they can even have physical uh, demonstration of everything by using specific headsets or specific goggles that students can wear, and they can just have demonstration of every element from their curriculum. So here I'm adding one more video that will give you an idea about how this augmented reality can help you in some training experiences also. Like one example that is present here is welding. So those who are into the technical background, they might be aware about how difficult it is to train new beginners or students on welding techniques, because they have to work in some hazardous environment and they have to take care of every protocol, every rule. But for the beginners, it is generally difficult, and definitely it is going to cause some resource utilization. They will waste several materials in the beginning when they are learning things, when their joints are not proper. So definitely in the long run, they are going to create a wastage. So this is a long term process. Like every year you will have a new batch of students and you have to train them on the welding, and every time they are going to waste a lot of materials just in the learning process. But from several years we are doing the same. But with the AR technology, what advantage we can take? We can help students to be precise with their joints by using technological integration. And once they have refined their welding joints, then they can work on the physical job out there. So, how it may work, let us have an idea through this video. So, you can visualize this. This is what student is doing actually, and this is what they are looking inside their headset. So this appears like a real welding experience, and in actual they are just refining their joints and they are not creating any wastage on the materials. On the same material, like hundreds of students can do practice and still they can be precise with their development procedures, and they can do it with every kind of joints, like whatever type of joints they have to create, they can practice over it. You can see here examples. you can see the skill information also is being updated side by side, so that teachers and students can see the analysis on how well student is working on this welding process. So by the end of this journey, teachers can check how well every student has worked on it, and if they need some more practice, that also in the skill analysis report you can see, and accordingly you can proceed ahead. So in the long run, definitely, as I told you, this is going to be a cost-effective solution because we are going to reduce wastage in the lab environment, and by just using the existing hardware and software of AR technology, students can improve their skills on these critical jobs. And this can definitely be a better experience for them in the long run, especially when they are being exposed to the real environment, because they have precision on their joints, so they can well handle those practical jobs. Let us have one more idea from this particular video, that is especially from the technical domain, with IoT based experiences like these kits in the electronics that you have to create. We can do that with the help of these AR-based systems as well. You can see complete visualization students can have, and the same they can follow on the real time to learn this circuit building process. The same they can follow on their real time experiences. So, moving further with the virtual reality for teaching learning, and in this we are going to talk about the eye covering headset that I have shown you in the beginning, and these headsets also come with some handheld units that can help you to control everything into the simulated environment wherever you are entering by wearing these headsets. With these virtual reality experiences, you just have everything in 3D in front of your eyes, and you are completely cut off from the real world outside. You might have seen some movies that we watched with these VR headsets, like 3D movies you have, and VR powered movies you have. Several theaters have introduced them in past several years, and you can just wear these headsets and you can just experience everything in real over there. So this definitely adds to your sensory experience, although several studies also show that these headsets may harm your eyes if you wear them in the long run. But still, companies are working on this aspect also. They are trying to refine the manufacturing process so that the impact on eyes can be reduced, and even several games for the youngsters are being designed with this VR technology these days. And you might have seen several youngsters working on these headsets. They just cut off themselves from the existing environment and they enter into the simulated environment, and they just enjoy over there with the uh, 3D techniques that are imparted into the computerized elements. So with this virtual reality technologies, we can definitely boost student engagement because they have three-dimensional images, video, sound, and etc. We can enter into that in real time, and this is more useful when you have to train students on certain critical parts where otherwise it is difficult for students to enter. Like you might have heard that several pilot trainings and driver trainings are also happening on the simulators these days. So this kind of technology is being used over there. So when you are not able to enter into the real environment due to some safety issues or risk associated to that environment, the initial trainings can be continued with this simulated environment powered by AR and VR. So here we can have one example of such training. This is creating a virtual laboratory environment for the students, and even while sitting at their classroom they can enter into the laboratory by wearing this VR headset, and they can use components out there. So these laboratories can be created as per the specifications required by the institution itself. Whatever components they need inside the laboratory, everything can be customized as per the requirement. So this is just one example where students are able to interact in the laboratory setting, even while they are sitting at their home, maybe, or within a specific classroom. But still, they can engage into this laboratory. You can see they can do experiments also. They can choose the components and they can insert it into the system. This is like a real setup they can have to create experiments of everything. Easy selections of the components, easy insertion, and having instructions for everything. If there is some issue, you will have warnings so that students can learn everything quickly. They can have challenges, they can solve them, they can have rewards inside, feedbacks of every challenge, everything works for the student learning. Even the complicated circuits they can have practice with and they can run them easily. So this leads to experience-based learning, as I have just shown you, that everything in the simulated environment they can interact with and they can learn it. So this is an experience-based learning that will sustain in the long run in the student's mind. And one more I can add here from the electrical domain. If someone is from this area, they can experience it. We can usually say that when we have students in this domain, no one will allow them directly to do wiring at a home premises or in an office premises. But in order to learn, at least they can start with the simulator so that they can understand the concept of wiring and then they can implement it in the real time scenarios. So just have an idea from here. See, they can test everything over here. Now comes one interesting part, that is virtual field trips. So several times for organizations, even for the students or teachers, it gets difficult to have real travel and tour experience to visit certain sites where students can learn something. Sometimes it is due to the time issues, cost issues, and sometimes due to the inexperienced batch of students who are not ready to enter into some risky zones like some construction zone or maybe some industrial zone, which is prohibited for beginners. So still, if you want to give them an experience about how things have to be controlled in such environments, at least they need to know at somewhere at the initial stage. So VR technology can help them with this. The VR graphics can create the real environment for them where they can enter by wearing the headset and they can understand the impact of everything in that particular environment. So here, one interesting video you will see. This is basically what a person might be looking at when he's wearing the headset, and this is a construction site experience on the VR headset, where the student will get every instruction precisely to handle the construction site events, the essential warnings or the task list, everything will be displayed in front of his eyes, and accordingly he can proceed ahead. So let us have an idea about how this may help your students. This is one of the most interesting application of VR technology. You can see the student has reached the site where construction is going on, and the first thing he gets is to-do list. You can see here. First of all, he is asked to go to the table and then get the equipment, wear these safety equipments, and you can see all the instructions are coming in front of his eyes, and he can just wear all these safety equipments. This is the basic training for the students always who have to visit the construction sites. Now they are asked to climb to the next floor, so accordingly they can use the staircase over here with the safety rope. They have to tie in and then they can start. So this procedure basically they help it helps them to learn everything. You can see when someone does the walk ride, they get the indications of that if anything is wrong or if there is some warning to be given. Everything is displayed on their screen, so student can have a complete training on how to go to the site and how to do different tasks over there. Everything they can be taught about. The safety instructions are also being displayed time to time. This is essential for the training of a beginner. can see that this fall from a staircase, it was a risk-free event in case of VR headset, but in case of real world, this can be a really critical issue. So the initial training, definitely we can give on the VR headset where they are getting all the safety warnings easily. So this was one idea about how VR can help in distance learning as well as in virtual field trips. Everywhere we can learn something through these simulations, and this can be relevant to the specific experiences that we want to create for the students, because these applications can be customized as per the educational curriculum. Furthermore, I'll add one more over here. This is essential for those who are working in the health areas. uh, One critical stage that we can see when we are training students, whether nurses or the doctors, to deal with the critical care patients. So it is not possible for the beginners to enter into the ICUs directly and give instructions over there and deal with the patients. But still, we have to give them an idea that how they have to behave in the ICUs and how they have to control everything in a critical scenario. So that, of course, we can do with the help of these VR simulators, and you can see that this particular application on the VR is designed very well, where the learner or the student can interact with the virtual elements out there or the virtual human beings that are appearing on screen, and they can just talk to each other, they can give instructions to each other like a real ICU environment, and they can ask questions from each other. And by the end of the training, the student will also get an assessment report whether he is passed or failed for the ICU treatment. So this is definitely an amazing experience for the trainers as well as for the students out there. Let us have an idea about how it works.
You're with a stable patient when he starts to have a cardiopulmonary emergency. Your code team is off dealing with another emergency. It's clear there's little time to help this patient. It's been 10 months since your last ACLS certification. You're racking your brain trying to remember the right algorithms, but you can't. Sound familiar? It does to your clinical staff. ACLS competency decays within months after certification for those who work in non-critical care areas. With today's in-hospital cardiac arrest survival rates of 11, it's clear that we can do better. So, how can you
You
implement
can see this
high-impact refresher
headset a
training
student
across your
has to
entire
wear,
system?
and then they can
Training that
enter
doesn't
into
require
the
expensive equipment,
environment
people
of
resources,
ICU.
or time-consuming setup? Enter virtual reality. Health Scholar's new ACLS virtual reality simulation training virtualizes stable, unstable, and cardiac arrest scenarios, effectively recreating the stress of a megacode. Mr. Nelson is a 56-year-old man who's here for a PIC line. The learner takes on the role of team lead, identifying different cardiac waveforms and using state-of-the-art voice recognition technology to direct virtual team members. Andre, start chest compressions. Starting compressions. To shock, perform CPR. Phyllis, let's go ahead and shock the patient. Charging. All clear. And administer meds. Aaron, administer 1 milligram of epinephrine. Giving 1 milligram of epinephrine. Following AHA guidelines, the VR simulation reinforces addressing team members by name and making eye contact. Phyllis, give 6 milligrams of adenosine. Please use the name of the person to whom you are speaking. Test situational awareness of team member fatigue, task performance, and code management principles. I really need to switch. Let's switch chest compressors. And strengthens closed loop communications. Giving adenosine 6 milligrams. It has all of the AHA core rhythms, plus post-arrest care. The end tidal CO2 just spiked. It lets your team easily practice, assess, and validate skills on their schedules. Learners are provided a debrief on failed waveform identification and on general code management principles needing improvement. This simulation is over. Let's debrief.
So you can see the assessment report, pass or fail, that student can see.
All for the same cost as an e-learning course and at least 50% less than.
So this is one interesting part we can have, like for the critical scenario training, and of course the pass fail assessment also we can do side by side, and even for the high tech training we can utilize this technology to increase the learning experience for the students. with the real-time simulations out there. And
The
one
VR
example
fire
of
trainer
this you can see over here. Fire training experience is again a critical zone experience. We cannot put a fire in the institute premises to help students learn that how they have to deal with it. But of course, with a VR fire trainer, they can enter into the simulated environment and they can learn how to use fire extinguishers, what type of gases or what the type of fluids they have to use in a specific environment, and what type of treatment they have to give for a specific fire incident. So you can see that how good it can be with the training
CTE's
instrument.
all-mobile digital training solution that delivers accurate fire safety training. Fight fires in different high-quality, fully immersive environments. Choose between several extinguishing agents for various fire types. Experience realistic fire spreading, smoke development, and get analytics based on your performance. Everything you need for a realistic and immersive fire training, all enclosed in a military-grade silicon case. Book a demo today.
And now we come to the last part, which is the mixed reality. This definitely includes several technologies into it, including AR and VR. And with the mixed reality, we basically think about bringing the real and digital world together by increasing the sensing experiences for the users. And in this case, you will even have the IoT based sensors integrated into the system, some AI based technologies integrated into the system that create a completely immersive experience. And this includes environmental understanding, first of all. We have to map the space in which we have to install things to create a real simulation. Human understanding, we also have to enable by using sensors and cameras out there. It can help us to track movement, speech, and inputs from the human users so that the simulated environment can behave accordingly. We can have spatial sound, including 360-degree audio experiences that can improve the experience for the learners out there with the location and positioning system and 3D assets that we can include, including holograms, etc. So, with the mixed reality, we can create better interactions between computers, peoples, and things out there, and we can create a specific landscape where object surfaces and boundaries we can map, where person body and positions and movement also we can control accordingly, and the lighting, sound system, everything can be added into the realism out there. So this one experience, you can see one of the best experience of mixed reality. You can see students are sitting in a room with some empty space in between, and there is a proper flooring out there. Students are not even wearing any kind of headsets. They are just looking it with the naked eyes. This is the impact of mixed reality. It can create immersive experiences in front of your eyes, and you can see how beautiful it is. So this is how technology is changing, and it is adding into our lifestyle. And adding it to further, we have holographic devices as well, on which several institutions are investing these days. Many companies are working on this. Like Microsoft has created HoloLenses, Google has created cardboards, and several other holographic devices that are being integrated into several manufacturing plants, professional development operations, machines, factory inspections. Everywhere they are being integrated these days to enhance experience of the end users. With these immersive devices, you can have like near eye displays. You can have uh, a complete 6-degree freedom to interact with the things, and there may be a unrestricted flow of everything. Like, for example, with this hologram idea, you can see.
Axiom Holographics produces more hologram devices for more industries than any other company in the field. Perhaps you've seen holograms in movies like Star Wars or Star Trek. Holograms are objects that look solid, but they're made out of light. We do this with laser projection, And we're also the company that invented the multi-user lightweight bending technology that allows multiple people to see a hologram at the same time. For architecture, we have full-size hologram rooms where multiple people can go in together and walk through life-size CAD models or polygon designs. For government and town planning, we have hologram business tables. These project holograms up to 70 centimeters high. You can zoom in on all of the detail. A few years ago, our company produced the world's most powerful graphics engine for running laser scans and point cloud data. So these hologram rooms can project entire cities or entire countries. For entertainment, we have hologram dinosaur rooms where up to 5 people can go in together on a dinosaur adventure. Trials of hologram entertainment rooms have shown them to be extremely profitable. We also build hologram arcade machines. These are like traditional arcade machines, except the characters are made using laser light and they project up to 90 centimeters away from the screen. There are 15 games available at present. Each machine comes with 6 games, and the games are all 4 players. For live shows, conferences, and advertising, we have holograms that project on stage. They don't need any glasses at all if you're more than 3 meters away, but they do require a level of darkness. If you would like to get attention for your restaurant, we have hologram menu machines where customers can see the meals float in the air and choose from a menu. For museums, we have hologram walls. We also have holographic tours of real-world places. This is where we scan in the real world, and then people with a controller in their hand can go on an interactive tour. The whole thing's been perfectly calibrated to real-world size and depth, so it looks like a hole in the wall that projects into a totally different environment. We have plenty of devices for selling real estate, either off the plan or scanning in something that already exists. We have full hologram rooms for universities or hologram walls for ordinary schools. We also have all of the devices necessary for scanning in your corporate assets. If your company owns factories, hotels, or shopping malls, this is a wonderful way to do your planning or to give visitors a tour of your scattered assets. Or for something really big, we have 20-meter long hologram tunnels. They project real depth to look like a window where you can see out in all directions. The holograms come 3 meters out of the wall into the tunnel where the people can touch them. In 2019, we came second in the world's largest technology competition in Shenzhen.
So this is an idea about how these holograms can be used in almost every area, including industries, education, advertising, and everywhere else. So lastly, I'll come to the sources for the educational AR and VR content that as an educator you can use. There are plenty of companies that are designing relevant content for the educational purpose, including immersive VR education. Unimmersive, you have Google also is providing several pioneer programs on this, Alchemy VR, Discovery VR, and Z Space. I have shown one video from the Z Space in the beginning also. So these are some companies that can help you to get relevant content as per specific curriculum that you have. So they are designing customized content as well for the end users. And similarly, there are plenty of tools and applications that you can utilize for designing AR and VR content. So if someone is interested in content development instead of using it after development, maybe your students are interested in developing AR VR content, you can just tell them that these are the softwares or applications that they can use. Google AR VR software they can use. Meta Spark Studio is also there. Spark AR Studio is also there. If your students are good in programming, they can use Unity Infinity as well. Overlay app is one beginner friendly app where you can use drag and drop tools to create AR, VR basic content. So these are some examples you can consider, and you can create immersive content as per your requirement, or you can just take help from the existing big players in the market and create content of your requirement with their help. So this is all that I could tell you about how we can use AR and VR for different applications in educational premises. I hope this was useful for all of you. And if you have any queries, anything to discuss, please let me know.
I think this AI VR technology will be very useful to innovate the learning content. for the users.
Yes, sir.
This was and naturally by using this technology we can provide our learning material at the far flung areas in a more accessible way.
Right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.